Alrighty, I think I'm good to go. Good evening, everybody. As you can see, the European realms are currently offline, and on the US side of things, Ny'alotha has been released, and players have been clearing the raid. They got the end cinematics, and of course, Wowhead has been kind enough to upload those. So I'm going to check them out. I'm going to spoil myself. Be warned, spoilers ahead. Check out what these cinematics are about, because I know if I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, then we're going to be talking about it anyways. So yeah, my first glance at these things. Let's see, this is the Wrathion and N'zoth cinematic. Maybe it would help if I actually turn on the thing. Oh lord. Okay, take two. Let me make myself just a little bit smaller so you can actually see the entire thing. All right, take two. Did they get them? Oh wait, no, he vaped back. Okay, so for those that are unaware of what happens in the raid, basically what happens is you run into Azara again. Azara has been taken into Ny'alotha, where they've been torturing her, and Azara lets you know that she has Ny'alotha. Along the way, she got Ny'alotha from Navanos and Sylvanas. Sylvanas and Azara were in league with one another, whereas, you know, Azara split the sea open, and she got her hands on Ny'alotha, planning to use it against N'zoth. She was actually trying to fight against the old god. Does that make her a good guy? Not necessarily, because she was still trying to kill us and whatnot. And of course work with Sylvanas. But she was ultimately aiming at killing N'zoth. So even though Azara entered that whole deal, and she was turned into the Naga, and she was not a slave, but she was a queen. Even though all of that went down, she was still against N'zoth. So here we see Wrathion, very cool, like, he walks up to, I believe this is the carapace of N'zoth. He walks up to it, transforms to a dragon, gets the dagger in there, and he rips open a pathway in there. Okie dokie, so that is how we go inside of N'zoth. Now what is interesting is that Azara mentions, like, use this blade to strike at the heart of N'zoth, which I kind of expected. Like, we were going to use it at his heart, right? But no, we actually use it to open up a little tear, and N'zoth is not enjoying what he's feeling. Interesting though, the weapon that he used. Because if we think back to the whole Ny'alotha storyline, we had Ny'alotha, which was the Blade of the Black Empire. She ends up being used by us to suck out the corruption of Sargeras' swords. Then she ends up being found by us again. We bring her to the whole Crucible of Storms raid, where Ny'alotha herself is released from the blade by N'zoth. And N'zoth is like, hello, my champion, let me put an eye in your head. And the Horde brings the blade back to Sylvanas. This then leads, presumably, to contact between Sylvanas and Azara, in which Azara wants the blade again. And she makes the whole bargain with Sylvanas, as in, bring the Horde and Alliance there, I will open up the sea, and I'll bring them down here. So, you know, I'm going to use them and their hearts to open up the prison for N'zoth, and then I'm going to strike him once and for all. But instead, she was defeated, dragged down by N'zoth, but still complete her mission of setting him free. And now N'zoth is torn open by it. So I'm guessing that in the grand scheme of things, N'zoth wanted Ny'alotha to be in the hands of Sylvanas. Therefore, I guess he presumed that this was going to happen. And then we ended up in his prison, and we opened it up for him. because he was aware of Azora trying to betray him. So I guess things worked out rather nicely for the old god. Okay. So connection established in order to get us there, in order to use our hearts to open up that final prison and get him out of there. There's a nice like to dislike ratio, though. People do seem to be enjoying it. Wrathion, what do you have there? A knife! No! God damn it. Okay, that's funny. What else do you have, Wowhead? Do you have the other one as well? In this cutscene... Oh, right. Okay, so let's not listen to what in the cutscene happens. Instead, let's open up Twitch. This is from Squishy. And Squishy did the raid in order to get the cinematics for Wowheads. We are at 317, so let me quickly browse it back. Let's get some volume in there. All right. Okay.
Sequence initiated.
I'm not charging my laser. Holy shit. That's not how N'zoth goes out, is it? Okay. 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 Why do I find this so funny? I don't know. I mean, we got the heart of Azeroth. We become the anchor for the laser that we've been building up. And we use the laser to blow up N'zoth. And apparently his eye, the eye of Sauron, it blows up and his empire disappears. Oh dear. Here's what I think about it. Ooh. For the first time in the history of World of Warcraft, we have had an old god on the loose. The moment itself, the way that they presented it, was already like, oh, huh? Like the end cinematic for the Eternal Palace was a momentous occasion. An old god free from his prison, not happened till the Day of the Titans, since the days of the Titans. And it kind of like felt like, oh, is that the ending? And then after N'zoth was released, like what kind of effects did we see? The Veil and Uldum corrupted up to the point where you go into Ny'alotha itself and you use a laser beam to get rid of him. A being that's been manipulating and corrupting from behind the scenes is taken care of in a patch. Side note, Azora also just walks away, claiming that she's going after some new kind of power that's waiting out there for her to be claimed. So Azora just disappears. Ny'alotha does not make an appearance during this storyline. Illyria, she shows up in the vision of Stormwind, but Illyria and the Void Elves do not. There is a story in the Brawlers Guild with the Ethereals that's being built up that didn't play out its part here. Instead, what we saw was N'zoth corrupting two zones that are old. Like, you can drop tentacles and eyes as much as you want in a zone. It's zones that we're familiar with. It's the same as going through the Halls of Origination and the Veil of Eternal, the Mogushan Palace. Like, these are areas that we've been to before, right? So that's it. Like, N'zoth is out there. This should have been insane. This should have been crazy. This should have been all over the world of Azeroth. You should have seen these effects. And we don't really. Which is a real shame. And to see it being taken care of in a single patch is a real shame. That doesn't mean, of course, that the Void Lords, the threat of the Void Lords is gone. That is still out there. But in the case of the old gods, let me find the cinematic because I saw the stream. There is one more cutscene. I think it's here.
Since being wounded by the Mad Titan, Azeroth has been crying out in pain. In her hour, she lent you her power. Today, at long last, she's free from the grasp of the old gods. Her song rings clear and strong throughout this chamber. Hold her heart with pride. Know that you are more than a champion of your people. You are a champion of Azeroth!
And it's a shame that they put so much emphasis on the necklace. Like, you are the champion of Azeroth. Go out and be a hero. Here's your necklace. Whereas for all intents and purposes, the necklace has been a garbage system and people know it. They realize it. The sword is still inside of Silithus. And apparently, like MacLeod says, Azeroth has been cleansed of the corruption of the old gods. Which is interesting, considering that we never really knew the full fates of the old gods like K'Fun and Yogg'saron. In the case of Y'Shaarj, we were aware that Y'Shaarj was completely gone because, first of all, the Titans ripped him out of the world, the heart was locked away, and then the heart was fully used by Garrosh, so Y'Shaarj was gone. That was fine. But K'Fun and Yogg'saron, we fought them in their prisons and we kind of like pushed back what they were. But now it seems like they've made the decision that rather than just pushing them back, we actually defeated them in those moments, which is odd considering we have seen Yogg'saron's influence during the Legion pre-patch. Like, he's still whispering in Ulduar. Not to mention that if it's as simple as just defeating them as we did, just pushing them back in their prisons, why didn't the Titan Forge do that back in the day and just get rid of the full corruption? Why was imprisonment necessary if you could just take care of them this way, right? So if they truly made the decision that the old gods are vanquished for the moment, then yeah, interesting call. And Ny'alotha, the Black Empire, has been lasered. With the heart of Azeroth. Don't get me wrong, by the way, I might sound really disappointed in the story development, which I am. I held out hope beyond hope that they would go with a storyline like, okay, you have pushed back N'zoth, but he's not completely gone, the other old gods are still out there. Or, there's still this threat lingering. But if you look at the aftermath of this, like in the case of, for example, the Legion ending, we saw Sargeras stab in the world, which had massive effects on the planet, and that was going to flow into the next expansion. Now, we know what the next expansion is going to bring, because we've seen it announced at BlizzCon. But this doesn't directly correlate to it. Like, this is just like, oh yeah, N'zoth is still out there. Hey, heroes, N'zoth is still out there, can you go fix it? I do know that there is still part of the war campaign that still needs to come in. There have been 2 data mine cinematics, which I haven't spoiled myself with. Maybe I should. But there is still going to come more towards the faction conflict. And all in all, I kind of... And this has been a bit of my complaint since the start. You might remember the whole announcement of the Battle for Azeroth cinematic, where I wondered to myself, like, where are my tentacles? I wish that they have focused this expansion on the old gods, or at least N'zoth, and then have the faction war as a side story rather than the other way around that they did it. I really feel like N'zoth deserved his own moment in the spotlight, right? But yeah, don't get me wrong. For 8.3 so far, I've been enjoying the Wrathion scenario. I'm looking forward to the raid itself. And then I guess that this is going to be it till Shadowlands. Yeah. Yeah, well, what is there to say? Like, am I happy with the ending that N'zoth is completely vanquished and laser beamed to death? With the heart of Azeroth. Look, heroes, you farmed Azerites. You are Azeroth's champion now. What do you mean we focused half the expansion on fighting each other? Nope, we are Azeroth's champions. Like, I would have loved to have seen Azeroth wake up as well and pull like the sword out of her back, like a titan maturing and waking up. It would have been such a cool moment as well. But yeah, this is what it is right now. This is the ending. I'm curious what you're all thinking. Like, maybe I'm being way too negative about these things. Maybe there is a way of looking at it that's like way more positive. Let me know. Let me know what you think about it. Let me at least end it on a positive note because we are talking about video game here. I did really enjoy the whole Wrathion movement thing. That was kind of cool. How he like twirled the sword and the whole Wrathion storyline as well, like finding redemption sort of for the Black Dragonflights. Trying to do better this time, whereas his father was once upon a time corrupted. I do very much appreciate that storyline. Conclusion, I wish that they had done more with the old gods at the start. I wish they had done more with N'zoth, plot lines like Ny'alotha, the Void Elves, all Azara showing up once again and then just piecing out like, oh, cool, bye Azara, till next time. I wish that they have done more with the storylines. And for the ending of Battle for Azeroth, yeah, it's an ending, I suppose. And now we get to look forward to Shadowlands. All right, everybody. Again, thank you very much, Wowhead and Squishy, for uploading these things so that us on the European side of things can see it earlier. And thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Wow, this reaction is way longer than I actually expected it to be. Okay. Bye-bye.